The Motivation Manifesto, 9 Declarations to Claim Your Personal Power, second part of Chapter 3. Since yesterday I got cut off because my phone overheated. Going live. Hey everybody, my name is Jeffrey Jansen. This is the Motivational Manifesto, 9 Declarations to Claim Your Personal Power. Yesterday my phone overheated, so we are starting with the second half of where I was at. So we left off on, a hallmark of those who achieve greatness is discovery that they control the level of motivation they feel by better directing their own minds. This is true for other emotional breakthroughs as well. Enlightenment comes when we realize happiness is a choice. Sadness is a choice. Anger is a choice. Love is a choice. Every state, emotion, and mood available to man can be generated at will in our mind. This realization is one of the most obvious guideposts on the path from adolescence to adulthood, from immaturity to maturity, from terror in life to transcendence. This is not to say that all people can or will choose their thoughts or emotions. A small percentage of the public does not have the faculties of a healthy mind, clinical mood, and mental disorder can prevent people from consciously directing their own thoughts and feelings on a consistent basis. Therapy and medication can help in such cases. It should be sought. We must not discount the challenges faced by those with real disorders and biological issues that prevent their progress in life. Though the vast swath of population does not suffer from such clinical disorders, they may show a lack of self-awareness as well as poor mental habits. Most people have simply not yet chosen to prize self-mastery or to work toward it. They do not need drugs. They need desire and discipline. They do not need a prescription. They need a new life philosophy. Even in those cases where a person needs medication and therapy over the long term, their treatment will also almost always include efforts to help them choose thoughts and behaviors that better support their well-being. Even in mental illness and traumatic brain injury, all roads of recovery lead to better understanding and directing our own minds. If we become cynics and decide it is too difficult for us or anyone to control our mind, then we are destined to forever drift in a sea of impulse and social cues, a life of reaction and distraction rather than one of conscious design. The long evolutions of philosophy, psychology, and neuroscience share a common theme on unlocking human potential by leveraging reason and the full power of the mind. Reason is the secret to developing motivated and independent identity. I think, therefore I am, and I do. Motivated people seize this truth. The great artists, leaders, innovators use the entire force of their reasoning faculties to become their highest selves and do their highest good. They express who they truly are and pursue goals they find meaningful. They strategically contemplate their direction and values. They weigh what will give them the greatest sense of vibrancy and fulfillment in every major decision. They select from life's abundant array only the courses that suit their nature and their intention to be free and to serve. They are resolute in calling forth their greatness, character traits, and wrestle their lowest impulses into submission. They appear in the eyes of mindless masses to be the lucky ones, the chosen. In fact, they decided to choose. People who are motivated are not lucky. They are conscientious. They choose to use their minds in a more purposeful way in order to energize and lift their lives. And for that, they tend to achieve more and gain more respect. The thoughtful woman who is in charge of her own mind and emotion has extraordinary power and earns high regard. But the man not in charge of his own mind is lost in the swirl of unpredictable and often unwanted thoughts and impulses. He is seen as immature and unreliable, and as the vacuum of his unconscious fills with fears, the inevitability drowns in self-doubt or suffers social despair. When we understand that thoughts and emotions can be chosen, then we finally realize that we err in saying, I don't feel happy, or I feel sad and there's nothing I can do about it, since we have some choices in how we feel at any given moment. The more accurate statements would be, I am not using my mind right now to generate a feeling of happiness. Or I have been choosing to focus on sad things for a while, and that has created this feeling of sadness. Or I am allowing my unconscious impulses direct me now, rather than using my consciousness to feel positive and design my ideal reality. One does not suddenly feel motivated any more than one suddenly and without cause feels happy. Happiness is a result of thought, not impulse. It is our mind's reasoning that we are experiencing in the moment or in life in general. And pleasurable, positive, and appreciate. An enduring sense of happiness is a prolonged intellectual high that comes from positive memory and choice, not a temporary physical pleasure. And so mature adults realize that motivation is not an accident, not so much a feeling as it is a conscious commitment to a motive, a choice towards something, a deeply held reason to act. It is an energy that results from thought. We feel motivated because we choose to, not because the sun happens to shine on our side of the street. So, if we want more motivation in our lives, we must make clear choices and more deeply committed to them. Can it be so simple? All we do is make clear choices and deeply commit to making them happen, and we feel motivated. Yes, to some degree, but mastery comes in understanding the nuances of this effort. There is a process that we can follow to more consciously activate and amplify motivation. Gaining command of this process gives us the intellectual and emotional ability to summon motivation to any degree we desire, for any length, at any time we choose. Sparking motivation. Psychology. Motivation is sparked by the energy created by ambition and expectancy. Ambition is the choice to be, have, do, or experience something greater in our lives. As soon as we want something greater for ourselves, our motivation is sparked. Do we want a better job, a better home, a better marriage, a better body, a better life? From such desires, our energies are aroused. The higher the desire, the higher the initial sense of motivation we feel. So we must go within and ask, what do I want for myself? What new goal would be meaningful to me? What am I excited about learning or giving? What great new adventure do I dream of? What grand pursuit or act of service will be satisfying to me and get me out of the bed each morning? Such questions are the secret to stoking ambition and thus motivation. It's simple. By deeply contemplating higher aims, we energize ourselves to pursue them. By deeply contemplating higher aims, we energize ourselves to pursue them. There is more. Many people want something better for themselves. Their ambition is alive and well, but they still do not feel motivated. Why? Because despite the hope for something more, they don't believe in it can happen and that they can make it happen. They lack expectancy, a choice to believe that their dreams are possible and that they can achieve them. Imagine the aspiring actor who never auditions. She wants to be an actor but does not believe in her ability to make it happen. Consider the would-be entrepreneur who wants to start a business but never leaves his job because he doesn't believe he can make it on his own. These people learn a tough life truth. Desire without belief in self is ultimately deflating. Often when motivation is lacking, we don't truly expect that we will realize our aim. And if we don't believe in it, we know we cannot achieve it. So we won't even try. In this way, expectancy is the great differentiator between mere hope and motivation. When we find ourselves hopeful but not motivated, we need to add a little more faith to the mix, tell ourselves, I expect that it will happen no matter what, because I have faith in myself to learn and grow, and day by day, make things happen. I will make my dreams a reality over time because I trust my ability to learn, to work, to ask for help, to persist. With these expectations, our minds begin to form the beliefs and behaviors needed to make our ambitions a reality. So let us focus our minds on seeing our dreams come true and on seeing ourselves make it happen. Let us sit down tonight and think of what more would bring joy and fulfillment into our lives. Let us journal about it and dream about it. Let us imagine ourselves doing great things with boldness and fire and commitment. This is visualization and internalization, a process of weaving expectancy deep into our psyche and the fabric of our being. This is the process of sparking our own motivation. Consider the man who wants to compete in a triathlon. In order to succeed, he knows he cannot say to himself, I hope one day that I get in good enough shape to maybe do a triathlon. Instead, he clarifies why he has this ambition, and he tells himself that he will race to the best of his ability and succeed. He visualizes himself in the water, on the bike, on the run, crossing the finish line. He summons up his motivation and makes the choice to begin to train to succeed because he believes he must and he believes he can. So to those who say, I wish I were more motivated, we reply, do not hope for motivation, choose an ambition to become motivated for. Fix on a dream and believe that it will see daylight, and soon a great swell of enthusiasm will enlive you. Sustain motivation. Ambition and expectations are just the beginning of the process. They are the spark of motivation. Unfortunately, many people never fan the flame of motivation by keeping their focus on their dreams. The triathlete must do more than simply believe in his dream once in a while. He must continue making choices to sustain the desire. He must schedule his routines. He must get a coach. He must run and sweat and fight for growth. He must do this over and over again. The sustaining choice of motivation are thus attention and effort. Motivation feels fickle only to those who have been inattentive to their ambitions. An undirect mind has little drive other than the baseline human impulses, sustained motivation not being among them. We must refocus, giving our ambition consistent mental attention keeps the drive alive. Our energy swirling anticipation. This can be as easy as reviewing our goals each day, journaling about our desires each night, regularly setting aside moments to visualize what we want and schedule our next steps. This is where so many people fail. The distinctions of the day steal their mental focus and thus their motivation. The real downfall for many people isn't that they are unmotivated people, but they are simply distracted. Too absent-minded to sustain motivation. It may be the world isn't giving us what we want simply because our own lack of focus makes it unclear what we are asking for. We mustn't let our dreams die in the daylight because we lose focus while responding to the world's lame interests or false emergencies. We mustn't take our eyes off our goals, and we must dispatch mundane tasks of the day or await the right time to begin what we truly want to do. When we allow our attention to drift from our dreams and into the vast sea of unawareness, our motivation is dragged along behind it. So let us keep our minds on our motives. Let us hold our grand visions in view, with dreams popping with color across the conscious dashboard of our minds every single day. Let us sit and meditate on what we want and see those desires come into fruition over and over again. Some might fear that we are cultivating an obsession. We are. We are becoming obsessed with a mighty aim, putting our full attention and zeal, perhaps for the first time, into something that truly matters to us. We should not fear an obsession for building a great and free life. Without such a wildered attention, our motivation would descend into half-hearted hopes, flirty arousals of the heart that have no staying power. It is the obvious equation and the ultimate secret that deeper and longer I give attention to my ambitions and passions, the more motivated I feel. But we cannot merely think our way to sustain motivation. We must work our way toward it. We must put real effort into reaching our ambitions. We cannot attract or have that which we do not act toward. Is it not true that we can easily discern the depth of a person's motivation by observing how constantly they have been taking action toward their dreams? The less consistent someone's efforts, the more obvious it is that they lack motivation. The irony is that if they gave more effort, they would have more motivation. We cannot feel sustained energy or commitment for completing a journey if we have never taken the first step. The triathlete must have ambition, but he must also begin to train. He must sign up for the race, begin running farther, training harder, stretch his comfort zone, work for his dream of crossing the finish line. From those efforts, his motivation will be sustained and enlarged. When the motivation dies, then it's not because our dreams died. It's because we never began or didn't sustain any real effort. Without taking steps forward, we never sense the highs of progress, and soon the energy is gone, and almost predictably, we quit. We often forget that it is the sweat and toil toward meaningful pursuit that makes us truly alive. So let us remember that nothing keeps motivation aflame more than hard work and the resulting momentum and fulfillment to continue our efforts toward our ambition, despite fatigue and distraction and hardship. This is the mark of truly motivated. Our life and legend hinge on our ability to keep marching on, to keep firing our will over the long term. Just one more heavy step toward the dreams often awakes desire to follow it with another. And so the answer becomes clear when people ask, what is the ultimate secret to lifelong motivation? Continuing on no matter what. Let me say that again. What is the ultimate secret to lifelong motivation? Continuing on no matter what. It hurts to think that, after all of our struggles to feel more motivated, all we needed to do was give more attention to our ambitions. We would rather believe that during those roaring times of our lives, when we are fired up, there was luck or an external force at play. We went to fall for the fallacy that we were more motivated because of environmental factors. Our back was against the wall. Our dad died. Our wife needed us. The big door of the opportunity swung open. God touched us. There was a baby to feed. But the stark reality is that those times we were motivated happened simply because we were willingly and working ourselves forward more often. There was attention. There was effort. These things were daily, relentless, and extinguishable. And these things were choices. We chose to give more attention and more effort towards something meaningful. There was no more. Choice energized us. It was our savior. Not the grace of changing circumstances or dire need or even divine calling. For how many people have heard such a call, but chose not to respond? It is in choosing to respond to circumstances or need or God in our own way, as a free and driven person, and with real actions that we emerge from the darkness. Let it be clear to all. Greatness belongs to those who have mastered the ability to focus relentlessly on their ambitions and act decisively towards them. Amplifying motivation. We have aroused our motivation and we have kept it burning. Now let us grow it and condition it through every fiber of our being and into every facet of our lives. Choices will amplify our motivation to another level. Attitude and environment. Attitude matters. Free and motivated people are positive, enthusiastic about their goals and their lives. Yet look at the millions of people drowning in the quicksand of pessimism, gritting their teeth in contempt at their everyday experiences. Anger, hatred, and all the trappings of the fear fuel the minds of the masses. There is a despaited gloom hanging over so many people. But why? Is there a sudden reason to feel profoundly more negative about life? No. The issue at hand is a failure to choose one's attitude. Most people rarely even think about their disposition or how they are energetically experiencing or attributing to the world. This inattention to how they think and behave and serve, this unconscious style, is costing them their dreams and legacy. Just think of the people who have achieved great things. Are they sullen and bitter? Negative and angry? No. What person ever achieved true greatness and fulfillment with an unusually bad attitude? Those with a miserable attitude rarely move the needle of the world toward progress. Motivation never kindles anyone's soul to its brightest burn unless he or she is open-minded and fired with an enthusiasm for life. An open and positive disposition towards the world can attract people, bring joy into our experience, and channel the highest energies of the universe. So let us remember that in all circumstances, we can choose how we show up and feel and relate with the world. We must make it a game to meet difficult circumstances with a smile, good nature, intent, humor, and cheering voices that rise above the somber murmurs of the aimless crowd. Keeping one's attitude positive, especially when the world conspires to make us mad, is one of the greatest accomplishments of life. Outside of our direct will, one way to keep ourselves sane and positive is to surrender ourselves with people who are sane and positive. Few things amplify our long-term motivation more than positive social environment. Whom we interact with matters to our attitude and thus to our motivation. Unfortunately, most people have allowed their motivation to be dampened by the social spheres to which they restrict themselves. It is hard, though not impossible, to be highly motivated when surrounded by pessimists and jerks, or while living in the stress and chaos created by the drama queens and the absent-minded. It is also the rare individual who spends his days couch surfing and partying with drunken friends, then ends up stumbling on the secret to success and happiness. The woman with the demeaning boyfriend rarely feels motivated to be her best self, and the man working a dead-end job with an insulting boss and bored co-workers rarely feels motivated to contribute with excellence. For once and for all, we should distance ourselves from those with bad attitudes, for their energy is contagious and corrupting. We should remember our personal freedom is on the line, and so our social fear hindered our self-expression and pursuit of things that are meaningful. For motivation's sake, we must be vigilant and surround ourselves with genuine and positive people who seek positive aims with positive attitudes. Let us also be more disciplined in shaping our physical environments to amplify our emotions. We should love the spaces we spend our time in. And let me start over. Let us be more disciplined in shaping our physical environments to amplify our emotions. We should love the spaces we spend our time in. And if we do not, we should make immediate changes. Walking into our homes should bring peace and the ability of rejuvenation. We should have plenty of light and a place where we cannot be disturbed so that we can reflect, think, plan, make art. We should feel comfortable where we sleep, where we think. Our workspace should inspire us, and we should have a ready contact list of other driven people to call upon when our need new inspiration. If we do not, again, we must make immediate changes to find and cultivate such relationships. If we lack a supportive place to live and work or a positive peer group, let it be our mission to manifest those things in our lives. Our environment matters, and so we shall shape it to lift us into the next realm of a motivation and joy. A clear path from victimhood. With this new understanding of our motivation, we move away from victimhood and find a clear path toward freedom. We can now bring motivation to life at any moment, and we can tell others how to do it. Choose an ambition and, with full force, expect that it is possible and that you can make it happen. Give constant attention and commitment effort to your dreams, and your motivation will perpetuate itself. Demonstrate a positive attitude as you strive for great things and take care to create a supportive environment around you that amplifies your motivation. With such practices, cultivating motivation moves from a lucky feeling to a wild choice. Over time, these choices will lead us to feel in command of our lives, able to punch through distractions, and better at riding the ups and downs of existence. Without such practices, we fall within to our impulses, enslaved to laziness and fear. We fall victim to others and to circumstances because we cannot rouse ourselves to be mindful or break free. Soon we are unmotivated victims, and nothing deadens the energies of the soul like a sense of victimhood. And so we have a message to the aimless and the unmotivated. They say, I am waiting for something or someone to motivate me. We say, motivation is summoned only from within. They say, I do not feel motivated. I'm just not a motivated person. We say, motivation is not an impulse of the body or a personality trait. It is an intentive and will of a free and conscious mind. They say, I'll get more motivation and work harder when my job gives me more pay and that autonomy and responsibility. We say, if you have not chosen to be motivated before, that is why you do not have more pay, autonomy, and responsibility. Effort gives you motivation, and motivation gives you reward. They say, the people around me keep killing my motivation. We say, you are choosing the people around you, but regardless, motivation is of your own will and violation. It is imperishable and cannot be granted, diminished, or killed by others. It exists within you because you want it to. The birth, life, and death of each day's motivation are subject to your own direction. They say, well, I haven't had any major life experiences that have motivated me, like a lucky break or a life event that made me find my purpose. We say, purpose does not strike as a lucky lightning bolt of inspiration. Motivation and purpose are choices. The only need to spark motivation is a decision to heighten your ambition and expectancy. To sit down, think about what you desire, and believe you can go get it. To keep that motivation, you must give constant attention and effort. They say, oh, sometimes I just feel lazy. We say, then choose to feel something else. Laziness is a choice, just as other feelings can be a choice. Understand that life is short and that choosing laziness for a long term will lead to a life that is a slave to impulse and literated with regrets. Only in choosing to energize yourself will you finally go out into the world, discover who you are, grow, actualize your dreams, and become free and great. Life enlarged and glorified. To be aware, to utilize our full mental facilities as humans, to be directors of our own mind and motives. These things give us personal power. Let us never neglect them, and let us devote ourselves to mastering motivation each day of our lives. There is nothing so deserving of our vital attention, for it is in the millions of the moment decisions made throughout our lives, either directed by a motivated mind that bends towards personal freedom, or left to the default impulses that bend toward the fear that we create our destiny. Fear wins or freedom wins. Life is enlarged and glorified when motivation is a light. So let us once more spark our souls with ambition fire. Let us stoke this energy with close attention, constant effort, and positive attitude. Let us act with full efficiency in shaping the social and physical environments of our lives. Should we be diligent and should we succeed, our vitality will amplify. Our life will magnify as if a divine light is bursting through, signaling to the world and destiny that we are here. That is our time, that we are ready. Woo! All right. Section 2, the 9 declarations. That's where we're at. We will do that one tomorrow. Everybody, thank you for listening today. That motivated me. Why? Because this is what I talk about every day when I do motivational mornings or motivational afternoons. You are the keeper of your motivation. We'll read more tomorrow. Everybody know this. If your friends are negative, get new friends. If you are not driven, become driven. It is a choice. Every day we have a choice. Make that choice and know you're great. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to read the next book. I got to see what time it is, and we'll go from there.